Presidents' net worth before and after their presidency. Being a country's president comes with many great perks, and one of these perks is wealth. Some presidents like George W. Bush, JFK, and Franklin Roosevelt were born into wealthy homes that gave them wealth and privilege before and after their presidencies. Other presidents were born poor and struggled to make their millions. In today's video, we're going to show you presidents' net worth before and after their presidency. But before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to TopWealth for more videos like this. Donald Trump. Trump is believed to be the richest president that has ever ruled America. To be precise, he's considered America's first billionaire president. Trump was born into a wealthy home, where his father was a real estate mogul who taught him the business, and he inherited at least $413 million from his father. Before becoming America's president, Trump was a real estate mogul in New York. He also owned several businesses including resorts and hotels, golf courses, and a winery that fetched him his $8 billion net worth in 2015, just a year before he became president. After Trump got into power, his net worth faced a major decline. He lost nearly $1 billion yearly. It's 2021, Donald Trump is no longer America's president, so what's the state of his account? After leaving office through a second impeachment, a pandemic, and an insurrectionist riot, Donald Trump is currently worth $2.2 billion. Barack Obama. When the Obamas entered the White House, they were struggling with a $1.3 million net worth in 2008. However, while in office, he earned over $20 million from his presidential salary, and even after leaving office, he earns a six-figure pension. After their tenure, their excellent oratory skills and well-articulated writing earned them massive book deals and speaking tours. From 2005 to 2016, the Obamas made $15.6 million from their books The Audacity of Hope and of Thee I Sing, A Letter to My Daughters, and royalties for Dreams from My Father. Together, Barack Obama and his wife Michelle have signed book deals worth at least $60 million. Today, Barack Obama is worth $70 million, and according to a report from American University in Washington, D.C., the Obamas may have a lifetime net worth of $242.5 million if they play their cards right. George W. Bush. George W. Bush was the son of the former president George H.W. Bush. Being rich wasn't new to him. Before becoming president, he started an oil and gas firm, Arbusto Energy, where he was paid $75,000 yearly and owned 1.1 million of the company's shares. Bush also had a baseball team and served as governor of Texas before stepping into office. At the time he became the president, he had a total net worth of $29 million. After he stepped down from office, Bush gave over 200 speeches at several speaking tours between 2009 to 2015. These tours earned him six figures per speech. Today, George W. Bush is worth $40 million. Bill Clinton. At the time Bill Clinton became president, records showed that he had the lowest net worth of all American presidents in the 20th century. Clinton and his wife had a combined net worth of $1.3 million by the time he stepped into office. Even after he left office, things weren't looking so great for Clinton. Due to his legal expenditures and sexual harassment settlement payments, he was neck-deep in debt when he left the White House. However, it only took a couple of years before Clinton turned his story around. He went from being the president with the lowest net worth to being the highest-earning president post-presidency. Just like every other president, Bill Clinton ventured into public speaking and book deals. Today, the Clintons have a combined net worth of $250 million. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan didn't need to step into the Oval Office to be worth tens of millions. In fact, he made a name for himself as a successful actor before stepping into politics. From his acting career, Ronald earned millions of dollars, and at the time he became president, he was worth $10.6 million. After he stepped down from office, Reagan couldn't achieve so much financially, as he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 5 years after his tenure. However, reports show that he grew his net worth by another 45% by the time he died in 2004. At the time of his death, Ronald Reagan had a net worth of $15.4 million. Thomas Jefferson. From the stables of the 19th century, I bring you America's third president. When Jefferson was president, wealth was measured in land and assets. Before he became president, he inherited vast wealth from his father, which included hundreds of slaves, 3,000 acres of land near Charlottesville, Virginia, and his sprawling Monticello estate. Jefferson was wealthy for most of his life, but soon his extravagant lifestyle grew beyond his earnings from his slaves and plantations. By the time he left office, Jefferson was sinking in debt which he failed to repay before his death. Jefferson was buried in debt, and after he died, his family was forced to auction off his home, land, slaves, animals, furniture, and everything they owned. His family lived off of charity after he died. Lyndon Johnson. When Lyndon Johnson stepped into office in 1963, the New York Times reported that he was worth $14 million, which he accumulated from land, radio, livestock, private aircraft, and TV holdings. This was a huge feat for Johnson, as his father lost all of the family's money when he was a boy. At the time Lyndon died in 1973, his net worth was estimated at $20 million, which is more than $100 million in today's money. Richard Nixon. Nixon is mostly known as the only American president who resigned from office. Before he became president in 1969, Nixon was worth $2 million. Nixon was re-elected as president in 1972, but unfortunately he got involved in the Watergate scandal. Nixon had to choose between impeachment or resignation, and we all know how that played out. Despite his disgraceful resignation, Nixon still managed to profit handsomely from his time in office. According to the American University, he grew his net worth by 650% post-presidency. At the time of his death, Nixon was worth $15 million. George Washington. With his face stamped on the $100 bill, it's no surprise that George Washington had millions before and after he was president. He may not have been as rich as Donald Trump, but he earned way more than any other president. His estimated net worth before he became president is unknown. But Washington had an 8,000-acre plantation with more than 300 slaves. His wife, Martha Washington, also had a large inheritance from her father. While he was president, Washington earned 2% of the federal budget, which is about $60 billion today. By the time he died, George Washington's net worth was valued at $525 million in today's money. Jimmy Carter. Carter, who is currently 96 years old, is one of America's longest-living presidents. Before he became president over 40 years ago, he was a successful peanut farmer. He stepped into the White House with $2.3 million to his name. After he left office, Carter was broke, and he found himself swimming in debt. He rebuilt his fortune by writing books and taking on speaking gigs that included speech tours. Jimmy Carter was arguably the first president to follow this path post-presidency. Every other president after him has followed the path of post-presidency speaking except Donald Trump. Today, Carter has a net worth of $10 million. Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was born into a wealthy home, and while he was still studying at Harvard, he inherited $60,000 when his father died. In today's currency, his inheritance is valued at $1.3 million. By the time he became president, his net worth was believed to have declined, as he made very little effort to increase his wealth. Roosevelt made a poor investment into a ranch that took the bulk of his fortune. At the time of his death, his actual net worth wasn't known, but he's usually listed among the top 5 richest presidents in history, with an estimated net worth of $100 million. These are some of the greatest presidents that have been in power, as well as their net worth before and after their tenures as presidents. That's a wrap for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to TopWealth. We have loads of exciting content for you on the way.